Quotes from Thomas Brooks. From the Kindle, Deep Christian Quotes and Bible Verses. First quote. The lazy Christian has his mouth full of complaints, when the active Christian has his heart full of comforts. Second quote. Man's holiness is now his greatest happiness, and in heaven man's greatest happiness will be his perfect holiness. Third quote. Christ dwells in that heart most eminently that hath emptied itself of itself. Fourth quote. If God were not my friend, Satan would not be so much my enemy. Fifth quote. An idle life and a holy heart is a contradiction. Sixth quote. Those sins that seem most sweet in life, will prove most bitter in death. Seventh quote. Satan promises the best, but pays with the worst. He promises honor, and pays with disgrace. He promises pleasure, and pays with pain. He promises profit, and pays with loss. He promises life, and pays with death. But God pays as He promises. All His payments are made in pure gold. Eighth quote. Prayer is nothing but the breathing that out before the Lord, that was first breathed into us by the Spirit of the Lord. Ninth quote. Humility makes a man richer than other men, and it makes a man judge himself the poorest among men. Tenth quote. Everything that a man leans upon but God, will be a dart that will certainly pierce his heart through and through. He who leans only upon Christ, lives the highest, choicest, safest, and sweetest life. 11th quote. A family without prayer is like a house without a roof, open and exposed to all the storms of heaven. 12th quote. Your life is short, your duties many, your assistance great, and your reward sure, therefore faint not, hold on and hold up, in ways of well-doing, and heaven shall make amends for all. 13th quote. Grace and glory differ very little, the one is the seed, the other is the flower, grace is glory militant, glory is grace triumphant. 14th quote. God hath in Himself all power to defend you, all wisdom to direct you, all mercy to pardon you, all grace to enrich you, all righteousness to clothe you, all goodness to supply you, and all happiness to crown you. 15th quote. The two poles could sooner meet, than the love of Christ and the love of the world. 17th quote. Cold prayers shall never have any warm answers. God will suit His returns to our requests. Lifeless services, shall have lifeless answers. When men are dull, God will be dumb. 18th quote. It is not the bee's touching of the flower that gathers honey, but her abiding for a time upon the flower that draws out the sweet. It is not he that reads most, but he that meditates most, that will prove the choicest, sweetest, wisest and strongest Christian. 19th quote. Read faith is the champion of grace, and love the nurse, but humility is the beauty of grace. 20th quote. It is not he who knows most, nor he who hears most, nor yet he who talks most, but he who exercises grace most, who is most communion with God. 21 quote. Sin in a wicked man is like poison in a serpent, it is in its natural place. 22nd quote. An implicit confession is almost as bad as an implicit faith. Wicked men commonly confess their sins by wholesale. We are all sinners, but the true penitent confesses his sins by retail. 23rd quote. When you have overcome one temptation, you must be ready to enter the lists with another. As distrust in some sense, is the mother of safety, so security is the gate of danger. 24th quote. If any man should ask me what is the first, second, and third part of being a Christian, I must answer, action. 25th quote. Several devices he has to draw souls to sin, and several plots he has to keep souls from all holy and heavenly services, and several stratagems he has to keep souls in a mourning, staggering, doubting and questioning condition. He has several devices to destroy the great and honorable, the wise and learned, the blind and ignorant, the rich and the poor, the real and the nominal Christians. Thanks.